You guys are tuning in to Layno Pod, the LaynoProd podcast. This is
That's right.
episode 7 featuring
Let's
my boy Rigo. Woo!
go. Let's get it.
All right, man. So, yeah, we were talking about, we could start with an intro, I guess, of how we met. We don't have to, or we could just go straight to what we were talking about. We were talking about, like, losing weight and whatnot, right?
Oh
What do you
yeah,
think? What do you
true.
think we should do?
Dude, you know what's funny? I
Yeah.
just realized this is exactly the same number from the last, like
Oh
when you
shit! The hiking
your
one.
old podcast. It was the seventh. I remember correctly.
It was. It
I mean,
was.
you can't tell I have watched all of your podcasts. But yeah, dude. I think I just realized. So fun fact, bro.
Yeah. For people that don't know, I did a podcast with Rigo, Jose, and Bert.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
We were on Catalina Island. We had this retreat for our Christian community at USC called InterVarsity, and we were in Catalina Island, and we were just hiking. And I was doing a lot of my podcasts. My what was it my junior year?
Yeah, that's your
Yeah,
junior.
my junior year in 2018. It was 2019 at that time, I think. And then we were just hiking, and I pulled my phone out, and we just started talking about health and fitness. And now I guess that's what we're gonna talk about again. I don't even know, dude.
Up to you, bro. I just remember you were dying on that trip.
Okay,
That was your first hike,
let's
bro.
talk about that hike first of all. That was my first, and it's ironic because I was taking a hiking class, right? I was taking a hiking class, and because we had that retreat, I couldn't go on the first hike. And in the hiking class at USC, we went, we were going on a few hikes around LA, right? And it would slowly progress a harder hike, like a easy, medium, and then a difficult level. And then my first hike, the one I couldn't go to it because I had to go to a retreat and it was in Catalina Island. I decided to hike with Rigo, right? And I was like, yo, make sure we go easy because, like, I'm not used to this stuff. And then right from the jump, the incline is like that high. The incline is that high, and the sun was out. I was wearing too many layers. I didn't have enough water, and basically I almost like passed out. And it was me and Bert, like further back, and then Rigo and Jose front. They were more fit than us, and they didn't even like go at our pace. They were just going like they were just leading the way at a point to a point where we got lost because you went too far. And then
Sure.
we didn't know where you were anymore, and finally we finished the trail after like 3-4 hours, and there you guys were. But yeah,
Fun times, bro.
that really, that was good. Maybe you did that because you knew how much I was gonna learn physically and mentally, and yeah, I gotta thank you. I can't regret it. It really helped me in my hiking
Bro,
class. That was a
hey,
difficult hike,
bro.
man.
Yeah, didn't you tell me after that that was the hardest one, like even from like all the hikes you did at USC, right?
To an extent, yes. I wouldn't
Yeah.
say it's harder than the backpacking trip because that one was so long, but
Uh,
it was out of the first few hikes that nothing could get worse than that. Incline already pretty steep to begin with, and sun was out, and I didn't have enough water, and I was wearing too many layers. My
I
goodness,
remember.
man. Yeah.
I just remember you were too prepared, bro.
Yeah, you're like, this is how it really is, man. What are you preparing for? I had the map and everything because I had to take notes for my class. Like, I had to tell my coach, like, yo, I'm going to Catalina Island. I'm gonna do the hike there. Can I use it as a to fill in for the assignment I missed on the hike that I was supposed to do in LA? But it was good, man. It was good. Yeah, man.
That's funny, bro.
But yeah,
But yeah,
how
I
have
mean
you
that was
how have you progressed from that hike till now? Because like I took the hiking and backpacking class in USC because like well I wanted to do something fun in my last few years at USC, but also like I grew a love for it. It became a hobby, but because I don't drive or have a car, like I haven't been going to much hikes after that. I went with a few friends to Zion that spring break last year. That was cool. We did was the Angel's Landing, that really high one where you just grab the
oh
chains.
that's
That was
dope.
that was pretty crazy. But I even put on my final assignment. I want to do a Grand Canyon hike, which is super intense, and
Yeah,
I've yet to do that. But we went on a hike, right? Was it no? It was
I,
last year, right? Or was
I
it this
did.
year?
Heck,
We went with Nick and we went to Eagles Rock here in the
yeah.
valley in Topanga Canyon. I did that hike with my hiking class, but I wanted to. It was your guys' first time, right? I wanted to show you guys that trail. It was
Yeah.
beautiful, like going up Eagle Rock, and man, now you'll get pulled over if you hike, right? The cops will get you. You gotta stay at home now.
I I don't know, dude. I haven't gone hiking in a while. I mean, obviously because of this, but even before that, I hadn't hiked in a while. But to answer your question, yeah, I have always loved hiking. When was my first hike? Actually, fun fact, my first hike was actually in that same park, different trail, but it was that same park in Eagle
Eagle Rock,
Rock.
the whole Topanga Canyon Mountains, that whole area.
Exactly. Yeah, so that was my first hike, and I really enjoyed it. And so ever since, yeah, like when I came into college, that's when I started hiking more, like every like other weekend and stuff.
Why did you hike
Yeah,
though? Cause me, I hiked because like, well, yeah, it was exercise, but to me,
yeah.
like, it was one of my most stressful years, my senior year in terms of academics. It was therapeutic. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
why did you hike before? Was it like your friends invited you, or was it something to do to get away from all the noise, or what was your reason?
So for me, it was a little bit of both what you just said. So like, yeah, there was friends like, inviting me to hike, but also at the same time, I just really do enjoy like, getting away from the noise. It is like now that I think about it, it is kind of therapeutic for me too. Like I generally enjoy being outdoors. I'm an outdoorsy person, someone who enjoys sports, and so for me, like hiking is just a great way to like one relax at the same time though, like I'm also like exercising because there is like a little like incline. So for me, like yeah, like I just started it because I wanted to go out with people, but also at the same time like it was a good way for me to exercise. And a little bit about me, like I don't really exercise with people, not usually. I usually do it by myself, but like hiking is like one of those exceptions because I feel like that's something that you could do with people. I have gone alone, but I realized that hiking's like one of those like, oh, like you can bring people and everyone's having a good time and also like having that fitness and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and when you talk on the hike, like it takes away the difficulty of it because it
Yeah,
kind of makes your mind focus elsewhere.
exactly.
I remember on my backpacking trip at USC, like the first night, right? We parked. The bus dropped us off. It was in Chandry Flats. It's in the San Gabriel Valley,
Oh yeah, I know
deep
where.
into Angeles Forest, right? And
Yeah.
then it dropped us off, and then we hike from like around 3 4 p.m. until the night until sundown, and then we were maybe 10 minutes away from reaching our campsite, right?
Yeah.
And my legs literally like wouldn't move, right?
Oh shoot.
I literally had to tell like the coach. I had to stop everyone. I was like, "Yeah, hey coach, like I don't think I could go on. Like my like it's a what do you call it? Cramping, right?"
Mm, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that was like, I wouldn't call it a near death experience, but
Yeah.
it's very rare for me to experience something where I felt so much pain, where like I felt like this is crazy. Because not
Mm,
only did I feel the pain, but I felt like a burden because like everyone had to stop. But I love my team and my class and my coach because the main thing he emphasized is when you go with others, it's a team sport. No one gets left behind, right? So um, there was two reasons why that happened. One, the obvious, which I didn't think was obvious, was I was near the front of the what do you call that? The line, right?
uh-huh.
So if you're near the front, those are the people that usually move the fastest, right?
Right.
So, and number two was, well, yeah, we were backpacking, so we had like 30, 40, 50 pounds of all our stuff. I think
Right.
I had too much weight on me. I had like the tent, right? So
Yeah.
one of my teammates offered to take the tent, and then my coach told me to go more in the back because it's slower paced. And his
Mm,
TA was also super experienced, so we had the coach in the front, but also a super experienced outdoorsy person in the back, so no one gets left behind. And
gotcha.
then the other reason was I was wearing what do you call it? Long johns, right? The leggings. And I
Yeah,
don't
yeah, yeah.
usually wear those, right? Because I don't do like outdoor activities that require those, like
Same.
camping in a serious sense where you need that. But I didn't know that it had a purpose. I thought I just had to wear it to help me hike better. I don't know. I wasn't thinking. So
Yeah.
I had long pants over that and stuff in my pockets. So my coach explained it to me that all my what do you call it? Belongings and my everything that was adding weight and constriction to my legs wouldn't let the blood flow and wouldn't let my legs breathe.
Mm.
So guess what I had to do? I had to take out my pants. No, I'm playing. No, I'm kidding. I did not take out my pants in front of everyone. I made it though. I had a lot of assistance, but we were literally 10 minutes away from the campsite, and I barely made it. But because I got over that, the next day we went on a longer hike. I think it was like 13 miles total, and it was like the whole day. We went to the very high point and then back to our campsite. No problem. But also we had less weight because we were able to leave some stuff at the campsite.
I
But
gotcha.
I wore more the better stuff. So the lesson for me was not only have good teammates to rely on you and know what they're doing, but every little thing matters. Whether it's how much water you're bringing, what kind of snacks you're bringing. Did you eat this morning? Did you wear the right stuff? Like gear kind of matters. Like what boots you wear, what pants you wear, all that. What layers you put on.
Yeah.
Because nature could be a daunting force, right? And it's crazy because my one of my apartment mates at the time, he was in that class too. Shout outs to Tom. I don't think he's gonna listen to this podcast. I don't know if he does, but that guy's crazy. Not only did he pack light, he literally brought everything in his own backpack. So he didn't use his own
Yeah.
backpack from the trip. And this guy, like the next day, so we came Friday and Saturday when we were gonna do that 13-mile hike, going to the highest point, going back. He did
Yeah.
not even eat breakfast. Like
Oh,
he was
dang.
straight, and he has everything in his backpack. He didn't even want to share a tent. He brought like his own hammock. I'm like, damn, this guy's done this before for sure, and like he has, like he showed me all the different places. But I mean, he's like super skinny, not skinny where like he's weak. He's super fit and like toned,
Yeah.
but he's super thin, so he's not putting in much weight. But he has a lot of strength and endurance and stamina. Um,
Mm.
so props to him, man. But yeah,
That's dope,
I
man.
can't do that. I try to like gradually learn things. I can't go extreme, but I mean, you're definitely more on the extreme side. I feel right, like just from past examples. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's just me in general, bro. I'm a very extreme person. But you know what's funny? You reminded me in my first hike that I ever did, I also was like cramping up too. But there's like I guess to go more like context and stuff. So I used to like again I mentioned I do sports. I was doing soccer at the time and I got injured. Like I had like a torn ligament and stuff. And so like this is like I think like this is like a good while. Like I think like a good like 5 6 months after that injury. You know, and if you know anything about like ligaments and stuff, like it takes a while for it to like fully recover. And so I went on this hike, and it was so funny because I was doing well. You know, like I was at a good pace, good rhythm. I wasn't overexerting myself. And then at one point, someone was telling me about like, hey, like this is a really good workout for calves. And I'm like, oh, you want to make it even harder? And what I did was like I went on my tippy toes. But as soon as I went on my tippy toes, my whole like right leg, because that's where my injury was, my whole right leg just like cramped up. It was like one of the worst experiences ever. I was like, ah, shoot, like it literally like hurt everything. It felt like my whole body was like it just like went frozen. But yeah, like I think for me, like I never learned the easy way. I
yeah.
hard way. Another story that I have. This is freshman year. After I think I told you a little bit of this story before, but this is after winter break. First semester, like I lost some weight, so I was like, screw freshman 15. I'm gonna get negative 15. Lost 20 pounds, but then I missed my mom's cooking, so gained it all back. And I was like, easy. I'm gonna work this off. And I was just like your friend. Like I thought I was like your friend. I didn't eat, I usually don't eat breakfast when I work out. I don't like, I just go into it. But little did I know that my body was so used to like one, I got lazy to be honest, winter break. Obviously overeating as well, to gain that much weight in so little time. And so when I went in like I've been doing this for a long time, but I should have treated it as like a gradual thing. So unfortunately, like I think because I usually run at that time, I think like 2 or 3 miles on the treadmill. I couldn't even get to the first mile. I was like dying. and I was like, oh shoot, I feel like I'm gonna faint. So luckily, I stopped, and at the time, this is like in Line Center at USC. Shout outs. But in the second floor, and so I'm like, all right, I'll be fine. Like I just need to sit down, relax. So I go outside on the balcony, chill there. I have class, by the way, in 30 minutes. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna just email her. Like, sorry, I can't make it to class. You know. Um, and what's funny is I send that email, and I'm like, okay, I think I'm good. I get up. I don't even make the door, dude. Like I open the door, and the doors slam on my fingers. But that's the last thing I remember. I legit blacked out.
Holy shit.
like for like at least 30 seconds. Because when I woke up the next moment, my TA for like one class that I took, like she like I would see her in the gym all the time. She just happened to see me like fall, like faint,
Holy
and then
shit.
she was like, Rigo, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, who are you? Like, what's going on? Like I didn't realize that I fainted. I'm like, damn, like why do I have a bruise on my fingers? And then I realized, like I connected the dots. I'm like, oh shoot, like I fainted. But for me, like I realized, like one, like I overexerted myself, and two, I didn't eat. And so she had called like what are they called? Not DPS, but or I think it was DPS actually. Called DPS like, oh, like do you need help or anything? And I was like, I'm good. I don't want to make a scene. Low key, a little bit of my pride, but also at the same time, like I totally knew, like it's crazy too. They gave me like paperwork to sign. And like oh, like do you need any medical treatment? Do you need an ambulance? I'm like, no. All I need is a granola bar. That's all I need. I don't need no hospital or anything. They're like, okay. So someone from like the front desk went, gave me a granola bar. I ate it, felt much better. And I was like stumbling, dude. Like luckily for me, I lived at Fort Tower. Shout outs to
Yeah.
Latino. That's where I lived my freshman year. And
Right next to the gym for people that aren't
yeah,
familiar with USC. Yeah.
right next to the gym. So I'm so fortunate. So I'm stumbling, but then I go into my room. My professor, messaged me back saying like, oh, it's all good. Just give me the paperwork and stuff. And I'm like, oh, do I have a story for her? And I just like I knocked out after that. But yeah, man, like I've always been more of an extreme person.
Dude,
I've always either.
I never
What's
even
that?
heard that story. That was freshman year?
I was freshman year, bro.
Dude, I feel like we shared a lot of stories, but yeah, dude, I got a ton of stories too. Freshman, sophomore, year, junior year. I talk a lot of junior, senior year, huh? Like with you, cause like I met you when I was
Sophomore.
sophomore.
Well, you were becoming a junior. I was
Right, right,
becoming a
right,
sophomore.
right.
Yeah,
So
Catalina.
that's true. That's true. So I didn't like. I never shared with you a lot of the like my freshman stories, huh?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, I feel like you would mention like, oh, like I wouldn't really go out or stuff like that. I feel like
That's
that was
true.
like,
There wasn't. That's probably why I never shared it. There wasn't really much stories happening. I was literally just in my room, just like on my laptop making beats, talking to no one.
makes sense. I mean, it makes sense that you'd be making beats, bro. You've been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny though. I in college I changed completely. I went from being someone who was more reserved, more introverted, and then in college I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna change, and like a lot of stuff happened. Like it's funny. I'm like the complete opposite. I went out a lot my freshman year. Got involved in all the clubs. Typical USC college student, getting involved in everything. Went out to parties and stuff. But so yeah, so I have a lot of stories from freshman year. But after that, sophomore year, I chilled out a lot, and then junior year, senior year, I literally went the opposite. Like I remember, it reminds me of another story, another guy who fainted. I think this is a kickback, like a fraternity place.
Okay.
And it was really funny because, so context, Latino Flora is like really great. It's a great place to network. If you're like a Latino like myself, obviously you could tell by the background. But
Viva Mexico! No, just kidding.
Anyways,
No, I'm kidding, dude.
yeah, good. So anyways, like a lot of Latino orgs and Latino frats and sororities would come to the floor, and so like we're freshmen, we want to go out, want to have fun. So like all these fraternity bros would be like, hey man, we got a kickback here, like feel free to come through, shoot through, and it was really funny, like so that's literally like the pitch they would do, and it was really hilarious because like some of us were like outgoers, like myself, and some of us weren't. But like like we just got along so well that like we always pulled through like the freshman squad pulling through, typical stories. So we go to this party, and it's really funny because I have a friend. He is, let's just say that he's a light drinker.
Oh, that's me.
This,
That was me. No, just kidding. I'm kidding. No, but I am like. Anyways, continue. I already see where this is going. No, just kidding.
so anyways,
Been there, done that. No, okay.
Yeah, it's funny because I was genuinely interested in this fraternity, and I actually like pledged for them later on. But anyways, like first impressions, right? We go there, we have a fun time, and then like all I hear is like a thud,
Oh
and then
God.
I'm like, all right, what the hell happened? Did someone fall or something? And I'm like, oh, it's probably no one, I don't know. And then my friends come up to me and they're like, yo, he fell down or whatever, and we're just like, ah, and it's funny because at the time and still to this day, like I don't really drink, especially then. And so, since I'm the one that's silver, they're like, "All right, bro, it's your responsibility. You're the DD. You're
Mhm.
gonna take care of him." And dude, this party, like the USC area. So, like where Expo Park is, where campus is.
Yeah.
So where floor is. This party is basically on the other side of Expo, on this side. So campus is up north, right?
So
This
more
party is
south.
south,
More south.
much more south, like close to King Boulevard.
Okay.
So it's really far.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I had to do was carry this freaking idiot and just take
Like
him to
that.
floor.
Like over like
Like
that.
no, I luckily I didn't have to carry him, but I just like like put his arm around me, whatever.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
It's like Rigo, I love you, bro. I love you so
Dude, wait,
much.
wait, wait. Stop right there. This
What?
is literally me. Have I told you
Oh
that?
really?
Have I told you that story of when I first threw up?
Shoot,
Sophomore year. Anyways, continue yours. And dude, I said those exact words, but it was to my cousin. But anyways, I'll tell my story after. You go first.
All right, for
Yeah,
sure. I
yeah,
have
yeah.
a few of those. I have a lot of like, oh, I love you, man, so much. Anyways,
That
like,
was me.
so yeah, I had to carry his. You too. No, I'm kidding. So I had to carry this idiot right all the way back, and I'm so sad. Like, I'm like, man, like I'm having a good time here. I was actually vibing with these guys, whatever. So I was so mad at him. So I'm like, and this is me on the inside. Outside, I'm like, yeah, bro, I love you too. But hell no, dude. I was like, screw this guy.
Yeah.
But it's funny though. It's funny though. Like we were good friends. I haven't seen him in a while, but during those times, like it was just me, him, and like a few other people. My
Does
roommate.
does that person still drink?
So I'll share another quick story. All right.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. This guy had a very interesting story. So like he's a light drinker, all this stuff, right? He'll still drink. One day, all right. So he basically like. So okay, so I'm gonna just share the result. So this guy has diabetes, right? But he didn't have that until college, and it's crazy the way how he got it. So basically, like he'll drink and stuff, like he was fine. I don't know what happened to him. Like either he got dismotivated with schooling and stuff, but one day, like I kid you not, I see him have like a packet of Kool-Aid. Those like 20, like that 12 pack, right?
Yeah,
So he
yeah.
bought two of those. He killed it in one night.
Holy shit.
So you know how much sugar that is.
Yeah.
And so, after that, like he wasn't the same. He was so tired, he wouldn't go to class. He was like feeling like he was really tired. And it was crazy. So one of my friends, his dad is a doctor, and so he knows like all these symptoms. He comes up to me, him and Bert, and he's like telling us like, hey man, I think I have diabetes. And we're like, what? What the hell are you talking about, bro? Like, what do you mean? It's like he's like come on, think about it, bro. Like we were like, come on, how would you know? Like he was like, oh yeah, because I'm tired because of this and this. So he shared us like three symptoms. And my friend, who's like, his dad's a doctor, he pulls out his computer and he's like, all right, bro. Based on those three symptoms, there's 99 or like 90 plus like possible, consequences or whatever, right? And so like there is no way that it's diabetes. funny story is he goes to the hospital, and after this, and they confirm that he has diabetes, and we're like, what the heck? He actually does have diabetes, and so and I don't know if you know this. I don't remember if he has type 1 or 2.
Hmm.
No, don't worry, he's fine now. He still drinks. But during that time, you can't really drink because of the sugar and stuff that,
Yeah.
beer and all that stuff has, all the alcohol. And so, especially if you mix, whatever. And so, like, at first he wouldn't drink, but, my friend whose dad's a doctor, he has he's in a fraternity. His fraternity bro, like, is also diabetic, but he also drinks. And so he shared with him, like, oh, like, how do you take care of your blood sugar but still have a good time? And so it's like really funny, right?
Okay.
Moral of the story: even if you have diabetes, you can still drink. But
Yeah, man.
uh,
I don't have any of that, and I still only I'm one and done, dude. Like,
I mean, he's also in a fraternity too, so it makes sense, right? But
dude, the
yeah, man.
amount that college students drink, man, like, and mind you, I
Yeah,
didn't start drinking until my sophomore year. So,
all right.
like, I was straight edge freshman year. So the few parties I went to freshman year, I would like watch everybody, right? And then sophomore year, when I just started hitting parties left and right, I was like, damn, like, I remember the alcohol EDU little test we had to take to get into USC or whatever, or after, like, orientation. I actually took note of that, because I didn't know anything about it because I never drank beforehand. So with that in
Yeah,
mind, I was like, okay, this is one standard drink, blah blah blah. I would go to parties, and I would see how much they'll pour in my cup, whether it's a drinking game or like whoever's bartending or whatever. And I'm like, holy shit, this is a lot, man. And for some reason, I thought I always had to like finish it, right? That stems from like just growing up. Like if you give me a plate of food in my family,
same.
like I didn't know the concept of leftovers. To me, like if you didn't finish it right there and then, it was like wasting it, right?
Like,
So
damn, killing it.
yeah, because I didn't know. Like I thought people that didn't finish their drink, like, oh, that's disrespect. Like whoever bought the drinks, like that's just wasting it, right?
Yeah.
And that's how I like, because of that notion, it overrided the me knowing theoretically this is the what should be my limit, and going
Oh
past
yeah.
that, and then before you know it, boom, it's like you feel it slowly rising, and then bleh, you just throw up. Yeah.
It's funny. I also know, like, my roommate, or my old roommate, freshman and sophomore year, Bert.
Yes.
He has a
Shout
very
out to
funny
Bert.
story
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Shouts to Bert. I won't share his story, but
You
he
don't
also
have
has a
to.
very similar
Well, I'll
experience.
share my story. The
Um,
the story I was
yeah.
saying how I was telling my cousin I love you and whatnot.
Oh, what's up?
I'll share the story where I was telling my cousin I love you. Like when I first threw up,
Oh yeah,
basically.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was
Share the story.
yes. Everyone like closer to me, they've probably heard this a billion times, but I'm gonna repeat it again. It's a funny story. So yeah, can you hear me by the way? Because sometimes when I'm talking, I can't hear you, but yeah, you can hear me, right? You hear me?
Yeah, you good, bro?
All right. So what was it? Sophomore year. Yeah, we had what is it? Spring Fest, right? Is what it's called. The concert. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the craziest thing, like Migos, right? Migos, they just dropped Culture One, Bad and Bougie, right? And they were gonna perform. They were the special guests for Spring Fest. It's like this outdoor concert at USC that they hold every year, right? And Migos was gonna be there, right? But they were the opener. They were opening for was it Ray Shremmerd? I think yeah, it was Ray Shremmerd, I think. And I was like, damn, like all these top hip hop acts, and it was free, and you were able to bring a plus one, right? So I bring my cousin, and my friend brings my other friend as a plus one, right? And then we go, and then it's crazy, man. There's a ton of people like that aren't even from USC because of the plus one, and because people heard about these really huge hip hop acts performing, it was just crowded, right? And the concert was filled, and a fire marshal showed up because there was just too many people. It was a hazard, right? Like it wasn't like people couldn't breathe. People were getting trampled on, right? This is all near the beginning before Migos performed, and then Migos finally performed. They performed two songs. I think it was "Get Right With Ya" and the title track "Culture." and fire marshal came up stage and ended the concert just like that because people were pushing. It was just too dangerous, and I was pissed because I really love this song called Kelly Price. It's by Migos, and they what do you call that? It features Travis Scott, and Travis Scott was actually there at that concert. I saw a Snapchat story a while back. There was this guy in like a gray jumpsuit, and Travis Scott was there backstage, and he was gonna perform with them, but all that got ruined, right? So already that night was like already on a bad start. So we go eat, right? My
Yeah.
friend, he pays for us, he spots us, and before this we pre-gamed, right? A couple of beers, right? And then after we eat, we come back, and my friend from previous night gave me and my roommate a bottle of soju, right? Like the Korean rice wine,
Yeah.
right?
Familiar.
And
Yeah.
and we already had beer, I already had alcohol in my system, and this is like my first time like drinking soju, right? And then I drink. It's good. It's peach flavor, bro. It's like it's a slow killer, man, because it tastes so good. You're just drinking. You don't know how many shots you're doing, and then it just creeps up on you, dude. Creeps up on you. And I was so red. My cousin actually still has this video. I was so red that the housing, the USC housing I was staying at near the Greek Row, it was the furniture was the chairs were red, like the red on your flag, on the Mexico flag, right behind you, right? I was literally like camouflage with that, like, and I'm pretty like dark, like I'm pretty brown, and I get really bad Asian glow because of that, and like I was super red, right? And then I was like, let's go eat, right? And it was already like pretty late in the night. Me, my roommate, and my cousin, we ended up go. My friend left at this point, so he didn't see all this happen. We go to Chano's, the Mexican spot with the carne asada fries, right, on Figueroa, but we walk it, right. I think this is, I don't know why we didn't take a Lyft. Maybe it was too late in the night. I don't know, or an Uber, but we walked the whole Greek Row, and then like, well, first I had to take a piss, right. So I just pissed at this random tree midway to Greek Row. They're like, James, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. We go back, we walk all the way down Greek Row, we get to Figueroa, and we line up at Chano's, right? Not even like 10 minutes in the line, because it's a long line, and everyone after the concert is just looking for a place to eat, right? After all the pre-gaming and drinking that they did. And then I tap my cousin while I'm waiting in the line, like, yo, bro, we need to go back. Like, I don't feel too good. So my roommate is waiting in line because he's going to get the food for us. He's like, I'll just bring it back. You and your cousin can go back to the house, right?
Oh, legit.
So my cousin is like carrying me, right? Like not fully, but like you said with you, right?
Oh,
We
yeah,
crossed
yeah.
the street on Figueroa to go to was it 28th on Greek Row, right?
Right.
Before we do that, we're near like the Subway or the pasta place. No, not the yeah the pasta place, the Subway, the Goodwill. We're in that area, that plaza
Right.
right across Chanos. I immediately saw the trash can. I ran to it, and I was like, just yakking everything, bro, because I felt it like slowly climbing when we were waiting in line walking there.
Yeah.
And it's funny because these two sorority chicks passed by, and they're like, they saw me at that moment, right? And they're like, yak it out, yak it out. Like, they're like cheerleaders, bro. And I was like,
So
yeah,
funny.
I'm good. And then my cousin was laughing, man. And then he was just carrying me. And then we were walking. And then I was like telling him, oh, bro, yeah, I love you, bro. Like, thank you so much. And like right here. He's like, you're good, dog, you're good. And then he brought me back to the house. I laid down, got my rest. I woke up and there was carne asada, like fries on my lap. And I was like, what a crazy night. But yeah, that was the first time I ever threw up. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. And I didn't learn my lesson. After that, a couple times I threw up more. I almost threw up in an Uber, actually. That would have been super expensive.
Ooh.
And on that one, I literally told this is like, I gave this guy 5 stars in a tip. I was like, yo, pull over right now, please. Like, I need to throw up. He's like, all right. And then just open the window. And then back in. Yeah. I would have made a mess in his car, bro. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my story.
That's so funny.
But I never
But
blacked
yeah.
out, and I remember, I forgot which one of my friends told me this. He's like, "Yeah, man, when you're drunk, or if you've never been drunk, like you want to experience it, but you don't want to experience it." And I was like, "Yeah, that's a
Sure.
pretty bad, crazy feeling that I don't like. Like the hangover feeling, that's the worst. Like those headaches and whatnot. But I've never like blacked out or passed out like you. So I've never been to a situation where like I woke up and I didn't know what just happened. Like you said with your story when you fainted in the gym. So that's pretty crazy,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, it's funny, dude. I don't even drink, and I already fainted.
Damn.
But yeah, I'm extreme, but not in everything. Yeah, like not even like nowadays. Like I don't even drink, dude. So like, before I was like straight edge. Now like shot like every few months. So like I really don't drink that
Yeah, I'm
often.
super occasional, man. Like I, maybe I'll get a little if it's offered, But my limit's
Yeah.
still the same. I didn't grow any stronger. I don't know how these frat guys do it. It's crazy, dude.
Oh, I know. Like speaking of my friend, the other one, the one that is in a frat, like that guy was insane. Like he's basically like, yeah, he's my structure, right? But skinnier. And that guy could drink so much. Like I remember one night he claimed that he drank like 19 beers or something. And I was like, "What the heck, bro? You're on another level." And it's crazy. Like you hardly ever see him like drunk. But like one time, I guess he overdid it or something. So funny because so this is kind of a funny story because so Bert, so like again, um, so floor tower is a suite style. So you know what that means. So
Yeah,
like it's
Parkside
just
was the
like
same. Yeah, you have all your
yeah, so
rooms and then a little what do you call it? Like a gathering spot, a common
yeah, like
area, a
living
common
room,
area. Yeah.
common area. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Bert like he answers the door and he's like, and it's really funny because I don't know what's going on, right? Like I'm just like I forgot what I was doing, homework or something. I don't know. I was it was that type of night. I think it was a Thursday night. I remember this. So I was like, like yeah, I don't expect anything to happen. And it's so funny because Bert, so a girl knocks on the door, like a cute chick, right? And she knocks and she's asking for me. And so Bert,
Oh.
he's first excited, and then he's like, he comes to me like they're looking for you, like he's like disappointed or whatever. It's really funny. But anyways, I'm like, what the hell? Like, who's this? And I realized that like we have a mutual friend, our friend who like can drink a lot. Apparently, he overdid it, and he's in the first floor, like just like yeah, like when I came in, basically I saw him just be carried by his two bros, and he's like, it was so funny. Same reaction. He was like, "I love you." Rigo, I love you, bro. I love you. It's so funny. Like he comes to me and just like puts his arms down. It's
That's
hilarious.
hilarious, man.
And we had to basically like dropped him into his bed. It's so funny. Like I just carried him and whoop, drop him in his bed. But yeah, man, like it's funny. Like I don't really have drunk stories about myself, but I do have funny stories about everyone else. And
Yeah,
so
dude. Here's a funny story. Here's a quick one. It's not as long as the previous one I shared. But I was
yeah.
this was senior year actually. Do you know what is it called? Is it Traddies or what? What's the?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is that? Wait, is that the bar like near Galen?
Near
No,
Galen. Oh no, that's the lab.
the lab. My bad, my bad. We were at the lab, right?
Astro Club. Yeah.
This is the first time. My roommate's been at the lab at that time. Shout out to Johnny. It's the funniest story.
Yeah.
But like this is my first time, right? But I knew my
Right.
limit, right? And it was happy hour, so we were going happy hour, and I drank maybe I drank one, just one tall cup, right? And then
Yeah.
Johnny just kept going, right? And I was like, yo, I gotta. I forgot what I had to do, but I had to head back, right? And I was gonna eat and whatnot, and we haven't even ate like lunch at that point. So I'm like, oh, you down to get lunch? He's like, no, I'll catch you later or whatever. The point is, like, when I left, he was still drinking, right?
All right.
And he told me he was gonna go get lunch like soon, but it turns out he drank way more than he told me, right?
All
So
right.
I'm in the dorm. I'm like, I think I was working on music, right? And then my other friend, we're hanging out. We're in our room, and uh, we come back, but Johnny's in the living room. We come back to the dorm. Johnny's in the living room, and he's like sleeping on the couch, right? We're
Yeah.
like, oh shoot, this guy actually made it back. I'm surprised he's knocked out, but I'm glad he's safe, right? I'm glad he's
Right.
safe because I'm trying to wake him up, but he's like, he's out of it, dude. Like, I could tell he overdid it. And then me and
Yeah.
my friend were just working on music, right? And like you said, we just hear this loud thud. We thought it was an earthquake, bro. No joke. Like No, not only did we hear it, the room shook. He's in the living room. He felt the
Like
room
last night.
shook. You know, a lot of people are talking about the earthquake. I didn't feel it at all. But anyways, but yeah, it felt like an earthquake, right? The room shook,
Yeah.
and I look at my friend, and then I was like, "Oh shit!" Because like it clicked in my head that that was my roommate that fell off the couch or whatever. So I ran to him. I was like trying to wake him up, like, "Bro, you good? Like you just fell. You want me to get some help?" He's like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm good." And then I brought him back to the couch and tucked him in, and but I was like, "Damn, he actually fell! Like, holy shit! Like that scared me, dude. Cause like,
Yeah.
you know, I've never seen that happen. I never had to be like the guy that had to rescue someone. I was like, that's a lot of pressure, man. I was like, oh, like I was just minding my own business, thinking he could, cause he could drink a lot, you know, he could handle his own, but apparently that one
Yeah.
he was just like out of it. But yeah, he was
Yeah.
good, man. Yeah, that was literally like a few days before graduation. Now I think about it. Yeah. Because we were
That's so
celebrating.
funny.
I think we were done with finals. That is true. That's why we were at the lab because we were done with finals. We were just celebrating a few days before we are gonna graduate. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that was so funny, man. There's still a bunch of more stories I could think in my head, but like
Yeah.
I really gotta think because it was all a blur, man. Like it's
Yeah,
only
man.
been a year since I graduated, but like it really feels like a blur. Like
Crazy.
there was key moments I remember for college, but all those little like times that were quote like fun, it didn't really like make it past my memory, you know. And if it did, it's either
Yeah.
like really funny or really like life changing. Most of the time, it wasn't life changing. It was just funny. Like it was like a funny story to
Yeah.
tell people, you know.
Yeah, that's me, dude. That's why like freshman year, I have so many stories of freshman year, but no one really asked me because again, like most people got to know me my sophomore year. But nah, I think that's hilarious, dude. That you thought I was an earthquake.
Dude, I kid
Because,
you not, like
dude,
my seat shook. Like you know like in movies when they have sorry Johnny, I don't think I'm putting you down, bro, if you're listening to this. I'm just saying what I saw. Like you know how in movies when there's like a
no, I know.
disaster or bomb or earthquake, you see
Yeah.
like water, it zooms in and it
Oh
starts
yeah, the water.
shaking and then the light
Yeah.
starts like swinging like that. Like
Yeah.
that literally happened all in like 2 seconds and I was like
So
it clicked in my head like he fell, like you know what I mean? But yeah.
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 No, the reason why I think it's funny though, not just because of Johnny, but like, so like we mentioned, there was an earthquake that happened last night. You didn't feel it. The only reason why I felt it or realized, so
Wait,
here's the
where was
funny
the
thing.
epicenter though? Where was the epicenter?
I have no idea. I have no idea,
It was
dude. But I
somewhere
definitely,
in Southern California though, right?
yeah, definitely. In order to feel it, dude, like yeah, like so basically, I was working out last night, late last night,
Yeah.
and because the earthquake happened at midnight or something like that, and so it was really funny because
Oh.
I was moving weights, heavy weights, and I was like, oh no, I was moving water, so like I had like some stuff on the couch and I want to move it, so I lift it up and I throw it on the couch right when the earthquake hit,
No
and so
way.
yeah, so
You caused the earthquake.
I don't know, mommy.
Yeah,
No,
bro. You caused it. I'm gonna call the cops. The
that
moment
was
you
so
threw it,
hilarious.
the whole world shook.
Yeah, no, like the room shook, and
Yeah.
so I'm because so again I'm a heavy guy, so I usually when I step like I can hear like
I have heavy feet too. Yeah.
and so that's why like like at first I didn't think it was an earthquake. I was just like, damn, I threw that stronger than I wanted to.
These
Like that's what
workouts
I
are
thought in
helping,
my
bro.
head. These
Yeah.
workouts are helping out, right? So so I decided to like, all right, if this really was an earthquake, let me just check real quick. And I look outside, lights are turning on, and people are coming out. And I'm like, oh wait, I think it was an earthquake. That's the only reason how I found out it was an earthquake. Because I looked outside my window and I see like again it's midnight, right? So I look in the window, it's dark, and then all these lights pop out, and I see like some college students come out and stuff. So it's like really hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. At first, I was like, "Damn, it's strange," but nah, it was an earthquake. So I feel you with Johnny.
Dude, like those news about earthquakes, like sometimes they scare me, man. Cause like you know how there's like aftershocks and whatnot, and it's
Yeah,
weird cause we always hear like I'm definitely on my phone more than I am like the news, right? But I
yeah,
mean Twitter, Instagram, that is the news. Like someone's
Right.
gonna, the moment it happens, someone's gonna post about it, right? And
Oh
then you
yeah.
Google it and you confirm it. But like when cause I saw that on my feed, and I was like, oh, this is pretty close. Like they just and then I see when they posted, like they just posted this now. Like how come I didn't feel it? Like oh, are they gonna be aftershocks? But like I heard it was what, like 3.5 or something.
I don't know, dude. I didn't check. I was just like, eh,
Yeah.
because I'm just like you, dude. Or not really. Actually, I'm the opposite. I'm not that worried. So the last earthquake that hit, I think that was like last year or 2 years ago. I just remember I was living in Tuscany, and the study rooms have like these rolling chairs. It was during the summer. I still remember. I was just chilling. I had my feet up and everything, and I was just reading my book. And the earthquake hits, and I'm just rolling it out with my chair. And it's funny because I'm on the third floor, like next to the window. So like that's like quote unquote dangerous, right? And I'm just like, this is cool. Like I can sleep to this, And it's funny because an aftershock hit after, and I'm just like, all right, round two. But no, I feel you though. Like sometimes now, you know how it is being in California. You're just like, all right, earthquake hits. Hopefully there's no aftershock
Was
because
that the one that like, was it last year? I don't even remember when, but like it was a lot, right? Like a lot of them were
yeah,
happening. It was
it
that
was
one.
continuous. It was like a minute. So like that's a long earthquake. Like a minute is a long earthquake. Usually they're like what 10, 15 seconds, right? A
Yeah.
good one would be like 30. Nah, this one's a minute. And then the aftershock was like 40 seconds. I still remember this.
Dude, I don't even
And
remember where I was like at that time. I'm trying to like think right now and I can't even remember.
the only reason why I can remember is because again I was on the rolling chair. So I'm just like swinging with the building. Like I feel the building swinging, and then I feel myself swinging with it.
That's scary,
uh,
man, when you're in the building, cuz like I remember there was an earthquake in damn, it was a while back, at least 10 years ago or around that
yeah,
time. But you know how there's different kinds, right? But this one was a kind that like kind of made you feel like you were spiraling, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
at the house that I lived at that time, I was on the second floor. So that was scary because I literally saw like everything in the room,
Yeah,
like
everything.
my desk. I was like, oh, like
I mean, yeah. Like usually though, that's a good thing. Actually, that's something that people don't realize that
really?
it's moving. It should move because like buildings that are designed for earthquakes, they're meant to be moved. If it's rigid, like think about it. If it's rigid and it's moving, then it'll crack. But if it's flexible,
There's no resistance. Yeah, yeah,
exactly. So it goes with the flow. So that's why like you see those skyscrapers, they're always just like you know
yeah.
they're always like even without an earthquake, like the wind makes it go like it's supposed to because if it's too rigid, it'll crack and that'll be worse because then everything falls apart. You know?
Dude, I that's so crazy. I barely thought of that. Okay, that's the bright side now. So whenever I'm in a building and everything's going crazy, I'm like, hey, at least it's moving. I'll be, yeah.
Yeah.
People will probably
Like
be
it's
telling me
funny.
like, yo, shut up. Like, what is the proper protocol though? Like, I don't even know. Because
Um,
some people say it's bad to run outside. It's bad to go on a corner by a door. Like, and then some people say it's the right thing, or you go under a table. What is it still
yeah.
stop, drop, and roll? What is it like? What's the protocol? I don't even know the protocol,
Yeah.
dude.
So I have a funny story about that. So you remember elementary, right? Like they'll do those earthquake drills and stuff,
All the time, especially if you went to
right?
school here in LA, you know.
Yeah, man. You would just, it's basically that. Like, like oh, like there's an earthquake, the alarm goes on. You go down, you go under a table. If you're in your house, under your bed. The doorway, I've heard both sides of it to be honest, but it's funny because like those are drills. When the real thing happens, so I was in my house right with my parents. I think I was like 8 or 9, and an earthquake hits, a little one though. Like you could barely feel it. And so since I'm trained to go under a table, guess what I did? I went under a table and I did the thing that they taught us in school. And my parents thought I panicked. If I shared the story with them, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's when Miko was like afraid." I'm like, "No, I wasn't afraid. I was generally just following protocol." And so like after that moment, what my parents taught me was like, oh, like it's not necessarily like for any earthquake. It's just like pay attention to the signs. And so I remember when I was even younger, my mom, felt an earthquake and she woke me up and she took me outside. And then my dad just stayed sleeping. And when she came back, my mom was like, "Why didn't you go outside?" Like he was like, just tell me when the next one hits, and
He's so
for,
used
for
to it. That's funny, dude.
yeah, like so, like, but the moral of the story that I feel like is like my dad, like he looks. What he told us after was like, I'm looking at the roof, I'm looking at the walls. If as soon as I see a crack, that's when I move. Like
Wow.
like that's what. So it's kind of like
He's waiting for it.
so I get his logic, right? I get what he means, but the only problem with that logic is that
It's too
as
late.
soon as it cracks, yeah, that's too late.
You
So it's
can't beat
really
the
funny.
speed of gravity. We're gonna dodge the ceiling, like.
I don't know. I guess he's seen too much of the Matrix. But anyways, he
Okay.
he just like yeah. So that taught me to just like be aware of what's going on. Like like what building you're in. Know the like the escapes and stuff. For me, like that's what I usually do. Like I recognize like the buildings that I'm usually in. I'm not like in some like Victorian like 1850 like house. Like most of these buildings are either like they're new or they're renewed to for the earthquakes. So I'm not too worried about that. What I'm more worried about like is if I'm like outside, if I'm like again in an old building. So that's what I'm more worried about. But if that's not the case, then usually you just like like you can go outside if you want or go on the doorway. I mean, at the end of the day, like because I was thinking about this actually the other day. I was thinking about how like in tornadoes, and hurricanes and stuff like that. Like some people talk about like like they survive because they hold on to the plumbing, right? Because the plumbing is like so like or like not the plumbing, sorry, the what's it called? Anything that's like attached to the plumbing, my bad. So like, if you look at the houses like after destruction, you notice like sometimes the doorways are what's left over, the metal,
Doors are
like
strong, man.
yeah. So like I'm like using that logic. I think it is fine to be under a doorway. As long as like, you recognize like the signs or whatever. But yeah, but because, I look up to my dad, like I'm just like my dad, that's the only reason why I didn't panic when I was on the rolling chair. I was just like chilling with it. But yeah, man.
Dude,
It
like
really depends.
all this like talk about earthquakes brings up two things in my head. I just thought about it right now. One is
But
like, you know how like a lot of people like like they would prefer to live in California. Like, and I agree. Like I never experienced like a tornado or a hurricane,
yeah,
but
same
I
here.
just know like earthquakes at least like I don't even know what I was gonna say. Like I don't know. It doesn't seem as the length of it to the very least, the duration of it and the damage that it'll do. In my opinion, I correct me if I'm wrong. It seems like it's not as bad as like the duration of a hurricane or a tornado. You know what I mean? Because it's like,
Mm.
dude, like once it's done, it's done. And if you're able to last that minute or however long, yeah, there's aftershocks. But like when I see like water get stronger and stronger, right? Like when I see really strong rain, that thing's crazy. I'm one of those LA people that freak out when I don't like the rain. First of all, I know we need it. It's good for our environment because we're in a drought. But like it smells, right? It this sounds like first world problems. It goes through more of my laundry. People drive worse when it rains, so more accidents and whatnot. Like, cause everyone overreacts when it happens in LA.
Yeah.
But like water is a scary force, man. Like just seeing strong rain, add that to wind, you're
Yeah.
done, dude. Like, and then that could cause mudslides and all this stuff and
Yeah, that's true.
floods. Like, dude, like that's scary.
Oh no, that's
But
true, dude. Like,
yeah, but I
yeah, like,
wasn't born. I wasn't born when the Northridge earthquake happened here in the valley in 1994. But my parents tell me stories about it all the time. They were on like the second floor, and like
mm,
I I, I forgot how it happened, but I felt like the third floor and the first floor like shifted. Like it was
oh,
crazy. It makes me rethink like, if I'm living in an apartment, because right now I'm on the third floor of my apartment, right?
right.
Which is nice. We have a nice view, but like, is this the safest floor? Like, what would be the safest? Is the first floor the worst floor, or is it the best because you're near the exit? I don't even know, dude. Like, but
I
anyways,
mean,
you don't have to answer that. But like, the
yeah.
second thing
I mean, yeah.
that brought up to my head was preppers, cause like you know how people prep, but you know the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
like. There's actually people called preppers, like doomsday preppers, like people that prepare for the end of the world, the apocalypse. I mean, you see it now with this whole like COVID situation, right? Like people stocking up on everything, and like the preppers are like, I told you so. Like I've been stocking up. I have all this. I'm like, so I watched a little bit of it on Netflix. I'm like, damn, this family's crazy. They have like a plan to escape. They have all this stocked up. It's like a movie, and I was like, damn. I was thinking like, who would I go to? I would go to my cousin, cause they own some weapons. So I was like, like my fam don't got weapons, you know. If anything happens, so like if we have to protect ourselves, the zombies or whatever. No, I'm just kidding. But like you know, do you ever think of that? Like if I'm not prepping, do I know somebody that's close to me that has some sort of defensive like capabilities, like,
I
or are
mean,
you kind of on your own? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like what's funny? Like I'll go in order from what you were talking about. I think to go back to like what you're saying about earthquakes and hurricanes and that stuff. I'm not an expert,
me
but
neither.
I feel like judging from the news and seeing the facts, right? Like Hurricane Katrina and all that stuff. Like
Yeah.
all the millions, if not billions, of dollars that the U.S. had to like restore, right? And all those like neighborhoods that got destroyed. Like I feel like it's not really fair to compare earthquakes with hurricanes because our earthquakes, like we're like, oh, it's an earthquake, but like kind of like my dad, and me, and what, even you to a certain extent, we're like, oh, it's just an earthquake, We're not really worried of like, oh, like there's gonna be so much destruction, right? Because we haven't really experienced like a big, earthquake, even though they're saying like, oh, the big one's coming.
Oh,
Um,
we're long overdue, bro.
exactly, yeah, So for me, it's just like we can't really compare it, but if we were to, then obviously like a hurricane would be worse. But what's funny? Going into like the rain and stuff. So I'm one of those people who don't really care if you can't tell. So I go outside. Like if it's a light rain, I'll go outside and run, right? Still. But if it's like heavy, like you said, which we haven't had in a long time. I mean, the last few months it was like raining, right? Which is a miracle here in LA. The last time it rained like that was like, if you remember, like 10, 12, 15 years ago. I remember I was in elementary school, and those rainstorms would just be so windy, man. They would take down trees and stuff. I don't know if you remember this. Even had
Yes.
like those lightning storms and stuff. So
Yeah.
on that note, I have a funny story. So I was in elementary, right? And I was in the class studying and stuff. And Mr. Echo, I still remember his name to this day. He
Echo.
was that cool. Echo, yeah, that's his name.
Okay, that's a
Uh,
pretty cool name.
yeah. No, and he was a cool guy. He was the best like assistant principal I've ever met. Even like elementary, middle, like he was like the best. All the kids loved him.
Okay.
And I think it's second grade. And so like, oh, Mr. Echo's coming, Mr. Echo coming. So we're all in the window, and it's raining heavy. And he's walking by, and as he's walking by, going to the stairs for our like classroom. I kid you not, dude. A lightning strike hit
Oh.
literally like 5, 6 feet from him in front of our eyes, and we were like, ah! So we jump out of the window, and then you hear woo, like almost instantaneously, dude.
Cause you see it right before you hear it, because of the speed of light
Yeah,
and sound.
so it
Yeah.
was crazy. It was crazy, dude. We just hear doom, and then but the sound was pretty close because it literally happened in front of our eyes, and so it
That's
went,
crazy.
and then we're like, Mr. Echo, did you see the lightning strike? And he's like, huh? I didn't see anything because it happened behind him. He didn't see this.
Oh, I was about to say if that happened in front of him, he'd probably be dead. I'm kidding. I mean, he would probably be blind, you know.
I mean, yeah, or like at least shocked, right?
Shock,
But no,
yeah.
he was. But for us, like,
Dude, literally
we're like,
missed them by a few feet.
yeah. No, but like, think about us, like as kids, we're like, man, this guy's like Superman.
He's a
So,
superhero. He's just walking and
no,
lightning's just.
cool.
He's just
He's
dodging lightning,
like,
you know.
like, who's this man that can even like sustain
He's
lightning
Flash,
strike?
dude. He's Flash. He's just that quick, you know. Just,
Flash. He could have become the Flash. I don't think about that.
yeah.
But yeah, man, that was really cool. But like little stories like that, like it reminds me of just like what LA used to be. Because again, like we hit this drought, right? And then we recently just got out of it, right?
Dude, the
Supposedly.
weather looks perfect because there's less cars and everything. There's not much smog,
Yeah, man. I just actually shared something on Facebook, and I was really genuinely
I
surprised.
saw it. I liked
Oh
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
thought you're like, yeah, like literally, it looks so different, and it's true, man. Like it's crazy how like the smog and everything just changed. So I guess that's one benefit of this coronavirus.
Dude,
But
I had this thought like
yeah, what's
I
up?
don't want to like put like feel like it has to be done, but I just had this crazy thought like, what
Yeah,
if every year we have like a few months or 1 month where we're required to do this regardless of there's a virus or not, just to limit the amount of like what is it carbon or whatever we put out into the air, But that would probably drive a lot of people insane if it's like, you know what I mean?
see how people are right now.
Especially people that don't believe in, dude. Whenever I hear like news about climate change, cause dude, I learned about climate change deeper in sixth grade. Cause in my middle school, back in Van Nuys, shout out to my the academy I was in via VEA, Valley Environmental Academy. Was that what it stood
Yeah,
for? I think it did. Yeah, yeah. We had a
right,
class to learn about climate change. We learned about all this stuff, right? And I was
right.
like, damn, like this is real, right? And then as I grow up in high school and college, I'm like, oh wow, there's actually people that don't believe this. Let me ask you, do you believe it or not? Like, I hate to put you on the spot, but like,
And on climate change.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, like I mean, I just saw the pictures. They kind of like seem make sense.
Okay, I mean,
Like,
because like not even just from
yeah,
pictures, like like scientific research saying like what
yeah,
humans have done because of the industrial revolution ever
yeah,
since
exactly.
how the temperatures are changing, and then there's theories saying like this always happens every X amount of years, like it's not due to the humans or it's all political. I'm like, we're kind of at that point where like the example of your dad moving before when the cracks happen, it's like we're past due. It's we're late. We gotta
Yeah,
do this. But I was like, man, like, what am I doing to contribute? Yeah, I guess I don't drive, but not because I have a choice. Because like I don't have a car and I don't have a license. But
so
like
because I drive, I'm screwing the environment. Thank you,
I
Layno.
still eat. I love my beef, bro. Like I still eat hell of meat, bro. So it's like I'm not gonna go to the extreme extent like some people that are like vegan or vegetarian and limit their carbon footprint by eating less. I'm like, yeah, that's gonna be a hard habit for me to change, man. Like I love meat, so you know what I mean. I'm not gonna do that extent, but I feel like anything like to help environment or help a cause or help a movement or a change. I always think like d- like even doing the little things, does that even matter? And I feel like it does, you know what I mean? But there's always people that will put it down for sure, and they'd be like, "Oh, you're not doing enough," or "That's not making change." I'm like, it's because of people like you. There's
Yeah,
less like people inclined to even want to try and do a little bit of help. So I think a little bit is always good. It's better than nothing.
yeah. I
One is
think that.
better than zero. You know what I mean?
Yeah, on a scale of 10 or 1,000, I'm kidding.
A scale of a million. You know what I mean? On a scale of one, 0.0001 is still a step above zero. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you won't notice the difference. And I think it's funny, like we were earlier talking about like my weight loss and stuff. I think it's the
Oh
same way.
shoot! Good way to wrap it around. Hey, you should be the host of this podcast. Okay. Because we've been talking for an hour already, so I'm gonna end this soon.
Oh shoot,
But yeah, what were you saying before the call got cut off? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I was saying like weight loss, how like we were talking about. I mean, I think this is even before you recorded, but we were talking about how like there's like fat in your body, right? And I was talking about a little bit about body fat percentages, and I was telling you how like you don't notice the difference in your body, especially if you're not taking pictures. I was
Exactly.
just making jokes about like, oh, like I don't take pictures of myself, whatever, right? But if but we do have pictures of climate change. We do have like the facts. And if you practice it yourself, and the more you do of something, the more of a change you cause. So for me, it's like you won't get rid of like the body fat of your stomach first. We're talking about that. You won't get rid of your six lonja pack, but you'll get rid of like the fat that you have like in your arms and your chest first, and then like if you continue to work out, continue to go on that same diet, then you'll see a change in your physical appearance. But at the same time, in climate change, like you won't see the difference, especially if it's just you. So like I think like with climate change and stuff like that, it makes sense why it's a movement. Because in my honest opinion, I feel like yeah, there's gonna be those people that say like, oh, I don't see anything. Well, the reason why is because there's not enough people to put a dent into climate change. Like what happened? Like I said as a joke, but it's true. Like because people are in quarantine.
We literally saw the
That's
sky change in LA. You know what I mean?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So many people that did it at the same time, and for it's been a month
It's
now,
only
right? A
been a
little bit more,
month. It's a small amount of time. You know.
and you see the change. And so that's what I mean. Like all those people before, kind of like the people they're saying about the doomsday. Like, you see, I told you you need to prep. All those things.
They had to be like a redneck, like America type of guy. It's true though. I've been watching those. A lot of them are, man. Hey, props to them though. Hopefully they don't feel like we're making fun of them. I'm gonna run to their
I mean,
hideouts because they're the ones that are gonna save everyone. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
but it's funny. On that note, dude, when you talk about that, like I was thinking about one of my housemates, dude.
Oh
He was making
shit.
fun of me. He was making fun of me because he was like, bro, like, like I have all these waters and stuff. Like,
He's
like what are
ready.
you gonna do? And I was making a joke, right? I was like, oh, I'm gonna use my Papa John points.
What the
So,
what?
like I was
Pizza?
just making a joke. Yeah, I was like, like because at that time I had like reward points for Papa John, so I could buy like 4 or 5 pizzas, and so like I got stocks too,
Yeah,
like
dude.
I
I'll
was
trade
just
you these
joking.
Papa John's points for your water supply. What the
Yeah, so it's really funny, right? But think about it, like I'm the only one left in my house here at USC. So guess who gets to take advantage of the prep? I do.
But you have less people
So
to rely on, though. That makes it harder, though, right?
no, like there's no one here.
But
Like
more
I'm
for
the
you,
only
though.
one.
More for you. More for you.
Exactly. So all the prepping that he did, it's mine now. He's in Hawaii now. So it's Jeremy, by the way.
Oh,
But
hey! Shout out to Jeremy.
shout out to
So
Jeremy.
Jeremy been prepping, and you haven't, bro.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, I get to use his prep now.
If
Like
Jeremy's
if
cool with
I if I
that,
really want
yeah.
to.
Okay.
Hey
That's
man, it's an
hilarious.
emergency. It's brotherly love, brotherly love.
Really love. Props to him, man.
But but yeah, man, I don't know. Like I feel like it's not until you see those differences, and you see like you can claim something, prepare for something, and then like, oh, like they're right, but you won't see it until after. It's kind of like in faith. Like some people say like, oh, like I want to see signs of what God's doing, and then like no, like you got to do the work first, and then the signs come after. So it's kind of like that mentality too.
For sure, man. You can relate that with anything, dude. Like anything that
Anything.
you practice little by little every day, you're gonna see for all the econ people out there, the compound. You're gonna see the effect. It's gonna build up like a
And then,
snowball, right? You're gonna
that's true.
see the changes months, years from now. You know what I mean? But just by doing a little each and every day. So whether that's losing weight, whether that's working on music, whether that's your faith journey with God, like any of that, whether you're doomsday prepping, every water bottle you save in your closet, you're that much, you're another few hours away from surviving,
Yeah,
in
that's true.
case of nuclear war or anything. But yeah, man,
Yeah.
I think it's around a good time to end. We've been speaking over an hour, but yeah, that's a
Good.
good theme. You really you're good at pinpointing that. I was like, I don't even know what to call this. I'm like, we're just talking about anything and everything, but I guess the theme of this is
Stories, bro. Moral of the
stories,
story.
moral of the stories, moral of our past stories. What can we do to improve and work on that little by little, as small as it is? You do that over a certain amount of time consistently, you're gonna see the changes, whether that's on your career, your faith, your health, anything. So is there like a final words or final tip you wanted to say, or people you want to shout out, or anything, man, and just let them know.
Nah, I don't really got much. I am doing like testimonies on Fridays. I did share this with you.
Nice.
So maybe like I guess I'll shout that out. just sharing like my faith journey and all the lessons that I've been sharing.
Hell yeah,
I
dude. That's
gotta try to.
inspiring, man.
But yeah, man. So you know my story. You know how it's unique. It's a little bit of faith, a little bit of race, a little bit of ministry, a little bit of college. A
Yeah.
little bit of everything that
And
I've been up to
all
these last
of
few
that
years.
is connected, which is the beautiful part, you know. Like that's what I like seeing on like the guests I've had on this podcast. I mean, you're the second like non-musician, I guess, that I've had. But like at the end of the day, we're all human and we all have these different aspects that we might relate on, and we don't even know how that's connected to this and this other aspect of our life. And that's crazy, man.
Exactly.
I hope to have more of those. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in to Layno Pod, the LaynoProd podcast. This is episode 7 with the homie Rigo. Yeah, peace out, everyone.